we are getting much closer in the fact that we are now only 2 weeks away from the release of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I absolutely cannot wait to start watching scrims, start breaking everything down, start analyzing everything. But in the meantime, we have had tournaments like this, and they have been super entertaining to watch, super entertaining to follow and break down. If you didn't see the end of this one, what we're watching right now is the grand finals matchup between the Atlanta FaZe roster. This was their entire roster versus the Dallas Empire. Dallas Empire didn't have their entire roster, so it was a combination of both their roster and a couple others. So as you might expect, Atlanta had a little bit of an advantage going into this series, but the Dallas roster played really well throughout the entirety of the tournament, which landed them in the grand finals. This was I want to say map 4. So if you haven't seen this, you can hop on over to the Atlanta FaZe's Twitch channel. Again, it was a super entertaining series to watch. Both of these squads ended up taking maps, various maps here and there. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you go see it. But as we get into this one and start to break things down, we are now into the second hard point. I do want to pause for a second just to break everything down for you so you have a little bit of an idea in terms of what happens and what teams are playing for as it rotates throughout all of those hard points. So just to get going here, one team spawns all the way in the back right, other team spawns all the way in the back left. First hard point is obviously up here on the top side of the map. That's what you were watching for the first 60 seconds or so. As it rotated, once you go over to P2, which is on the right-hand side of the map, you want to hold these spawns, which is where you just saw Simp die, right? He went back there. He did try to get behind. He ended up dying, but they do have this right spawn for P2. So it's easier to get inside of P2 from this right-hand spawn. As it rotates over to P3, you want to push through barrels over here, get all the way back behind P3, and you want to have this statue spawn. If you're able to get that statue spawn, then it's pretty easy to get the majority of the time inside of P3. You would have to watch the middle, the upper, and the bottom parts of the map, but it's fairly easy because there's only a couple lanes there. And then P4, you would like to go back to the opposite side of the map and have this spawn so that as it goes to P4, you have spawns for P4, P1, and for P2. So this is where you can kind of start to chain things together on this map. So as we go ahead and hop back into it here, keep an eye on where teams are spawning and what they're trying to do. Right now, we have 45 seconds left inside of this hard point, and you can see that Atlanta was focusing on that back spawn over towards the right side of the map because they were able to be pushed through. So Dallas pushed through. They're able to regain that spawn, and that's where they started pushing from, and that's how they're able to get the lead as we're heading to P3. Again, nice thing about this map, and the thing that's a little bit different. So first of all, nice thing about this map is that P2 and P3, it does kind of ping pong back and forth. So it's not like you can chain together a couple hills in a row without being able to push out spawns. But the interesting thing about most Treyarch maps, and it's a little bit different than what we've seen throughout the entirety of the year in Modern Warfare, is that when it comes to Modern Warfare, they only have, or Modern Warfare maps have 5 hardpoint rotations, and this one's different. Most Treyarch maps only have 4, and normally there's one in like the top of the map, second one is right side of the map, third one is left side of the map, fourth one is bottom side of the map. So rather than have P1 right in the middle, then 2, 3, 4, and 5, this is just a little bit different in that they kind of utilize top and bottom as well as left and right of the map. So that's kind of what you're watching here. But last 29 seconds here, you'd expect, ooh, a 3-piece with a lightning strike there. Interesting use of a lightning strike. I understand that if you're the Dallas squad, you want to try to make sure that you're continuing to gather momentum. Not sure if I love that use right at the beginning. We'll see if it comes back to bite them, but they currently have a 60-point lead, and I would look for Atlanta to start making their way back, especially when it comes to like P4. There's really only a couple ways that you can get inside of there, right? Everything is just indoors. It's super congested. So hill locations like this is where the dominant SMGs from Atlanta really do come into play. You have Simp, you have aBeZy. I mean, those guys are top notch. So most of the time you have really close quarter hard points like this. This is where they take over, and this is where they're able to make things happen. But as of right now, it has been basically, I mean, it's hard to do much better than what Dallas has done on this first set of rotations. Think about it. When it came to P1, they were the team that was spawning out. So they were spawning on the left-hand side of the map. They were able to push through and gather those right side spawns. So as it went towards P2, Dallas had spawns for P2. They didn't have spawns for P3, but they were able to get the majority of the time through both slaying and that lightning strike that Temp called in. Then for P4, they were able to get inside and win the majority of the gun battles inside of P4. Now we're back to P1, and they're inside also. So it will be interesting to see how this one finishes up. We will go through, we'll continue to break down the biggest momentum shifts that you see kind of from side to side on the map, but we don't really get to listen to these guys very often. So let's just take a minute, 2 minutes or so, listen to their in-game comms and hear exactly what they're talking about as they're about to rotate from P1 to P2 on the second set of rotations.
Get me and you, get my you, get my you.
Yeah, I breaked it.
Well, they're hitting this right here. I hear them. They're hitting this. I think.
I don't see any outer.
Oh, they slowed.
Yeah, that's good.
What's front church?
I'll get time if you guys want.
Yeah, I'm right. Pushing.
Go for it.
He's gonna be in that close again, I think. He's on the van.
In the car.
Interesting thing here, real quick. Look at the minimap in the top left-hand corner of the screen. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 blue arrows, and they're basically out towards mid-map. If you're thinking about P2 is all the way like on this side, and you'd want to push through and you'd want to get these spawns. It's really interesting that with 11 seconds left, these guys still haven't pushed through to try to flip spawns. We'll see if they're able to do it after this time expires as they push together as a team. But normally you see 1 or 2 people push forward so they can try to flip that spawn as it rotates to P2.
On the corner.
One shot. Checkers spawning out. Checkers, guys. Checkers.
I'm heading checkers.
Good alley on me.
I'll see this guy in checkers. I'm in checkers now.
There's 2.
Nice. Trying to get back.
Good spawn in the back.
I
Yeah.
come behind.
You're good.
Back B.
I'm
Think we back spawns.
I don't.
Stun me, they stun me,
There's
they're
a guy
not
back.
Craig's peeking out. There's one close, Alec.
Guy in the back.
And in hell.
Critical.
There might be.
Done.
Close dead.
Donnie weak.
Nice. Nice.
One more.
Donnie weak.
Okay, I'm getting church.
I'm trying.
Yeah, we have to. We're good.
On that rotation right there, Atlanta was able to get 3 dead. Temp was just able to get a 2-piece, which gave them the rest of the time inside of that P2 hardpoint. They did get a little bit of time inside of P1, and they basically split inside of P2. So as it's rotating to P3, there's only 17 seconds left, but they're down by 70, and they don't have spawns for P3. Let's see how they work to flip that here.
Donnie left. He's gonna get new time. Donnie's gonna get streaks.
Alright, we're good. We're only down 60. Fucking C.
Yeah, we're good.
Let's go.
I'm with you.
Just remember, Donnie's gonna have
I'm going
streaks.
you side. I'm going you.
I get bait control.
I'm with you.
I'm with you.
Running across.
One's on me. I'm
I-
stunned.
You're gonna watch him for statue, Alec.
Stunned him.
He does-
Watch out.
Look to the left. To the left, Chris. He's 100% to the left.
I'm 30. Tyler. Carlos says one shot.
Donnie dead.
One shot.
There's dead. Looking in the back of me. I'm stunned.
I'm getting top.
I'm 120 off. Help me.
I'm coming to help you.
No,
Dark dead. Nice streaks.
You gotta push this
I
shit
think-
out.
I don't just. They're gonna get split again.
One's in the back.
In the back.
Donnie. Good trade.
nice.
In bake.
30 seconds.
Bake weak. Hugh. Might be yellow on me.
I saw
50
him.
off. 50 off full. Mid alley, help me.
One shot.
Alley weak. I'm one shot as fuck, dude. No, I didn't get full. I have lightning though.
No, good job.
Good
time, stay alive.
Oh, I spawned new. I spawned new.
In the back.
Yeah, come.
Oh, that's fine.
That right there was just a phenomenal transition right there out of Atlanta. Simp was able to get through. He was able to get 1 streak. He was 35 seconds or 35 points off of that Hellstorm, so he wasn't able to get the missile. But as it's rotating to P4, they've taken that 60-point lead, and it's like it's down to 50. So they shaved 10 seconds off, and they have spawns for P4. See what happens as it goes throughout this second set of rotations. About to go back to third set of rotations.
Nice FC. We're spawning P1. We're spawning P1.
Small Donnie.
Donnie's somewhere behind you guys.
On team. He's twice small.
I'll see him.
I see Donnie.
He might have hit deep, bro. I don't know.
I need help.
He did deep. Dead.
Good.
I stun your right. Stun 2.
Close right.
I left.
You're dead. Play my life. How are we? Good trade. Oh no.
I left.
27 seconds. We're back to this shit. I spawned big. Good job.
One more in hill.
Right still, Tyler.
Nice, good shit. Yo, I still have streaks, I'm saving it for statue.
Good shit,
Yeah,
good shit,
yeah.
good
We
shit.
flip. We spawn
Yep.
spawning first.
I'm going back church, I'm gonna wait for you guys. I'm taking a long round,
As we're getting into the third set of rotations here, just think about where we're at right now. Throughout the first 2 sets of rotations, so throughout the first 8 hard points, the only one that Atlanta was really dominant on was inside those wine barrels, P4, second set of rotations. They were able to be dominant, and just like that, the game is tied. They were able to keep it close, They didn't have a great match. They kept it close. They dominated inside of P4, second set of rotations, and now they're also holding P1. They're just chaining P4 and P1 together to gain this lead that they have right now.
Hello, baby.
There's son, dead. Other one out, dead.
And Simp is just on a tear. I mean, these are massive kills, especially in 4v4.
Tyler, make sure, yeah, this is
Whoever's
good
church is trying
fucking
to.
We have a streak.
There might still be one behind me.
One
How do I re-queue?
One more critical. That's good time. It's good fucking time.
Another one here.
That's all. Nothing new.
I win it, guys. Let's go.
Mr. Tyler.
Yeah,
Good job, get big, I'll get time.
fucking smoking, Chris.
Fucking
Go,
smoke.
Chris.
He's still here, I think.
Good job. Yeah, good shit. Good smoke. Yo, stay alive.
I mean, think about it. Inside of P4, they were able to get 40 or 50 seconds or so inside of P1. And this is the difference between Black Ops 4 Treyarch games and Infinity Ward Modern Warfare games, is that you can actually get a ton of time inside of P1s, right? Think about it. If this was a Modern Warfare game, then P1 would just be right in the middle of the map, and it would be really tough for anybody to really get time inside of P1. That's not what you see here. Taking P1, putting it on the top side of the map, that allows a team to get a ton of time inside of P1, and they went from basically being 138 to 178. They basically got the last 100 points in a row. Now they're 12 points away from winning.
Chow. Nice. Barrels. No, one in the back of me.
I spawned first.
Donnie in the back. No, don't chow that.
You're good.
No, I need help.
And just from looking at the mini-map right here, even if they don't finish on this hill, they do have rotations. Another insane 2-piece there out of Simp. But as I was saying, even if they don't get the final 10 seconds right there, it doesn't matter because they have rotations over towards P3. So it's just a matter of time. You can see that Dallas isn't even inside that last hard point. He's going to go ahead, use his lightning strike right here, maybe try to get 1 or 2. There's only 2 left. And just like that, maybe? There we go. One more kill right there. 2-piece out of a BZ. So Simp goes 35 and 20 right there. Not sure if you saw the scoreboard. There it is. 35 and 20. Ended up doing 4,800 damage. Look at a BZ with 6,000 damage. So really great map out of the 2 of them, and it's what you would expect, right? Now, they did have their entire team. Dallas was a little bit shorthanded, but still dominant weekend across the board from them. So we're 2 weeks away from the release of Black Ops Cold War. If you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. Leave a like. Thanks for helping out the channel. And with that, we'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.